You ever hear those stories, the ones that sound like they're ripped from a spy novel, a secret history that was never supposed to see the light of day? Well, we're diving into one of those today. A story about a hidden arms race, not for bigger bombs, but for the ultimate prize, control of the human mind. And this isn't just history, because its consequences might be playing out right now in our headlines.
It all kicks off with a modern-day mystery. You've almost certainly seen this name pop up in the news, Havana Syndrome. But what in the world is it really? Okay, so starting around 2016, American diplomats and spies, people stationed all over the globe, began reporting this bizarre collection of symptoms. We're talking about sudden, intense headaches that come out of nowhere, debilitating dizziness, and the weirdest part, strange sounds, like a buzzing or a clicking or even a grinding noise that only they could hear. Officially, they're called anomalous health incidents. Now, this isn't just some fringe theory. A huge report from the National Academies of Sciences looked into it and came to a pretty startling conclusion. They said the most plausible cause is, and I'm quoting here, directed pulsed radiofrequency energy. Let's be clear about what that means. It means a weapon. But where would a weapon like that even come from?
Well, it turns out the answer might be buried in a really strange, really secretive chapter of the Cold War. It's a forgotten piece of history that seems to connect directly to the mystery we're seeing today.
This was the Soviet Union's own Promethean pursuit. You know the myth? Stealing fire from the gods. Only this time, they were trying to steal the fire from the human mind itself. And they had a very specific name for this whole field of study.
They called it Psychotronics. And look, this wasn't just about ESP or goofy parapsychology. No, this was a serious, state-funded, scientific mission to figure out how consciousness, energy, and matter all interact, with the ultimate goal of influencing and maybe even weaponizing the human mind.
And you gotta understand, this was no small-time project running out of some dusty basement. Over decades, the Soviet Union poured as much as $1 billion into this research. They were dead serious about cracking these secrets.
So, what exactly were they trying to build with all that money? What was the theory behind this so-called mind machine? The research was this fascinating mix of ideas. I mean, some of it was pretty out there, like bioenergy, this concept of a life force, and torsion fields, which is a hypothetical force that's not part of our standard model of physics. But right alongside all that esoteric stuff was something very, very real. The serious study of how electromagnetic fields affect the human brain and body.
The endgame here was to get past the theory and build the hardware. They called it instrumental psychotronics. They literally wanted to build machines, psychotronic generators that could amplify and beam these energies to influence a target from far away.
Okay, and one of their key technologies sounds like pure science fiction, but it's actually based on a known phenomenon called the microwave auditory effect. So here's how it works. You aim a beam of pulsed microwaves at a person. That energy causes a super tiny, super fast expansion in their brain tissue, which creates this little pressure wave. The auditory nerve picks up on that vibration, and the brain interprets it as sound. The result? You hear a noise that didn't come through your ears, a sound that is literally inside your head and that no one else around you can hear. Now, of course, none of this was happening in a bubble. This research was a direct result of the insane paranoia of the Cold War. It basically kicked off a secret arms race, an arms race of thought itself.
You can actually watch the whole thing escalate. In the 60s, the Soviet research really starts to ramp up. By 73, they're so confident, they're actually showing off generator designs at a public conference. Then, in the 80s, the funding just explodes, mostly because they're terrified of what the US might be doing. And then, decades of quiet until 2016, when the first cases of Havana Syndrome show up, with symptoms that sound eerily familiar.
And you can bet the United States was watching all of this very, very closely. We have declassified CIA files from that time that show they were genuinely alarmed. They were worried about the Soviets developing microwave weapons that could make someone tired, or confused, or even cause hallucinations. They took this threat incredibly seriously.
So what happened to all this research? Did it just vanish when the Soviet Union fell? Well, how does this forgotten arms race echo in our world today?
The connection becomes just shockingly clear when you put it all side by side. The old Soviet goal of remote behavior modification? Well, that sounds a lot like the symptoms of Havana Syndrome. Their research into causing disorientation and fatigue? That's now a reality with non-lethal weapons. Their work on psychological influence? You can see a direct line to modern acoustic devices.
In fact, we have a name for this stuff now:
directed energy weapons, or DEWs. The U.S. military has something called the active denial system. It's a beam that makes your skin feel like it's on fire. You've probably heard of the LRAD, which uses powerful focused sound waves for crowd control. These things aren't just theories anymore. They are real, deployed technologies, built on the very same principles pioneered in those Soviet Psychotronics programs.
So what began as this shadowy, almost mystical quest on the fringes of science has now stepped right out into the daylight. The ambitious, and let's be honest, kind of terrifying goals of Soviet psychotronics have become the foundation for a whole new class of real-world weapons.
And it brings us right back to that idea of the Promethean fire. This technology is the ultimate double-edged sword. It could lead to incredible breakthroughs, sure, but it also opens the door to unimaginable levels of control. It really can be a tool for liberation, or it could be used to forge chains for the mind.
The legacy of that old psychotronic arms race isn't just history, it is right here, right now. This spectral frontier, this place where energy can be weaponized to mess with our biology and our minds, isn't theoretical anymore. It's here. The only real question left is, are we ready for it?